What's up, guys? Chris with Classic Home Concepts back again for our Wednesday weekly. And we just want to say thanks for coming and watching. Hope you're having a great week. If you're here, make sure you subscribe. This is brand new, but we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So got my sister and my customer experience officer, Mackenzie, here with us.
Hi, guys.
And what are we talking about today, Kenzie?
Today we're going to talk about some questions that potential clients and actual clients would ask before they start their project or while they're in the middle of their project, just so we can get any questions people may have out of the way.
Cool. Well, you ask them. I'm probably the one who usually answers them, so
okay,
I should be able to take care of that.
I'm going to be kind of all over the place, but usually one of the first questions anyone asks is if we're licensed and insured.
Yep, obviously. Definitely licensed and insured, full general liability, work comp, all the things necessary to make sure that not only we're safe, our guys are safe, but also that you, your home, and anyone on site while we're doing the project is safe as well.
Awesome. What about an estimated lead time on projects? I know this kind of depends a little bit per project, but what's a good ratio to say to wait on materials / when we can be there to install?
So I think a lot of these questions are going to have, the initial answer is it depends. So to give you an example, like windows right now for lead times, we're a Pella certified contractor. So we do 99% of our jobs with Pella windows and doors. They're like 20 weeks out on just getting the product delivered right now. So that means from the time we sign a contract with you, we have to wait 3 days because Missouri has right of rescission. So you can always take that back after you sign a contract. Something good to know, whether you're working with us or another contractor. If you ever get pressured into something or don't feel comfortable, you do as the client have that right to pull your money back. So for that reason, we wait the full 72 hours to make sure that nothing happens. And then from the day we order, we're about 20 weeks out on product, which means you could be 21, 22, 23 weeks out on install for a window or door configuration, depending on what exactly it is. But then on other stuff, decks, we could be as quick as 6 weeks out. Siding's going to wildly depend on what siding we're doing. If we're doing hardy, we can usually get product in 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the color. If we're doing vinyl, we've got a job right now that because of the specific color, we ordered it in May and it's not getting delivered till September. So, yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you kind of hit my next question off of that 3-day
right of rescission.
Yes. Some people sign a contract and get super excited, and then the next day they're like, maybe we shouldn't have agreed on that quite yet, or maybe they saw there was an issue with the contract or something like that they want to make changes to.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can also touch base on like a change order form if they did find changes or they find changes throughout their project. Kind of hit both of those.
Sure. So one, we're probably the least pressured sales company around. I don't like the people who do that. I don't like my clients to ever have a chance of feeling like they got pushed into something they didn't want.
Right.
And so, in that 72 hours, like no questions asked. That's what the law states. And so we've actually had it before. It really is to protect the client too. We had a client that they had a pretty horrific medical accident happen a couple days after signing contracts, and they needed that money they'd spent with us to make sure they had funds to take care of their injured family member. And I was happily able to say, we haven't ordered anything. Here's your money back. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And keep that relationship and not get into a sticky, nasty situation where, well, if the product's already ordered, someone's got to pay for it.
Right. Yeah.
But you also want to help that client because it's an emergency that obviously was unforeseen.
Right.
Hang on. You asked two.
Sorry.
Change orders during the project are a little bit different. So one of the things I didn't touch on with lead time, but is important with almost all of our projects, but decks and sunrooms and outdoor kitchens specifically, is our design phase. And so we are a full in-house design build firm. So before we go through with any of those projects, we're going to go to a pre-construction phase where we create a design. Not only so the client can visualize it, if some people struggle seeing things in their head, but also so we know when we go to do a project, this is exactly what you're getting. Um, and then there's no question on the price as long as we don't change anything either. So, if we do an outdoor kitchen and we say it's going to be $53,000 on the dot, there's not a lot that can go wrong. That as long as we don't change stuff, is going to change that number for being exactly what we told you it was at the beginning.
Right.
And I get, as you're going through a project, sometimes you think of stuff you missed. We hope we alleviate that with design time. But in that instance, we just we have a change order form. We go through and write it all out. We do collect payment for change orders up front. That way they are completely taken care of at the beginning. And then we generally give you one change order for free. After that, we have a small administrative fee that covers the paperwork necessary and the time to plan and pivot away from the original plan.
Awesome. Well, you kind of touched payments on the change order. What's the payment schedule like for signing a contract?
Again, it depends on which project it is. Windows and doors, siding, stuff like that. That's not a longer drawn out project. It's just 50% up front, 50% due upon substantial completion. And that's a key term there is substantial completion. We want to make sure that that your punch list is taken care of. Punch lists are natural in a project, especially sunrooms or stuff like that. It's real easy to miss a little detail or need to touch up some paint or something that's not a big deal. But having that punch list isn't a reason to not pay the rest of your bill. And then part of our contract states that we will address that punch list within a reasonable amount of time.
Right. Okay. I'm going to kind of pivot over to questions that are asked after they sign the contract or maybe like during the contract signing.
Sure.
How do they get in touch with us once installation has begun? Who is their point of contact?
99% of the time it's going to be their lead crew on site. So our two crew leads are Aaron and Jordan. But 90% of your contact once the project starts is going to be with that person. You might see me or Tim or someone on site, but generally that's to bring waters for the guys when it's really hot or come by just to check it out and see how things are going and answer any questions. But honestly, like we try and get out of the way because the guys are really good at what they do. And so the more chiefs you have there, the more issues you have. And we kind of let them run. We make sure the project is well planned and they go execute it.
Can the client expect the same crew to go to their house every day?
Again, depends on the project, but yeah, something like siding. Yeah, you can expect the same crew there. Especially the same crew lead. We're a small company. So if what they're doing one day, is, sorry, I'm not close enough to the camera and Tim's telling me to get closer. We're transparent. People. Yeah. So hopefully you can hear me a little better now. We are a small crew. So if there's something where one of the newer guys, we just need an extra set of hands somewhere, you might bounce around that, but the crew leads themselves will be the same every day.
Okay. What else do people ask us? What level of cleanliness do we leave the job each day?
So that's something that I'm pretty picky on. Not to say that we hit it 100% of the time, like anything else, people make mistakes or get in a hurry, but I am very big on 100% clean every day. The goal really being that, if we were doing a kitchen reno, which we don't do a ton of, but I want you to be able to walk through that space barefoot every night. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to feel like you're tiptoeing around in your home, scared of running into a nail sticking out of a stud or stepping on something sharp or kicking a piece of debris and getting a big splinter. Like that's not something that I want to be part of your experience as a homeowner.
Awesome. What about, does the client, and this, I already know that this goes per job and kind of depends on what job, but do they need to remove any items before we get there?
Maybe. That's something we'll go over. So part of working with us, day one or prior to construction on day one, we're going to come through and walk the site with you. That's where we kind of will transfer the job to our lead guy. And so I'll come walk it with Aaron or with Jordan and go through all the details and and also introduce you to the crew. And that's where we'll talk about if we need to take anything off. Really, the only thing really to think about there is if we're doing a deck or something, obviously we'll need it all off, but then adjoining walls. So like if we're demoing part of a roof to add you a sunroom, you might want to make sure there's nothing valuable hanging on the
Right.
walls that we're going to be demoing from, because some of those tools create a lot of vibration and we've had stuff fall and
falling
break,
off.
and
Yeah.
that's not something we want to happen again.
Okay. Is there a warranty or guarantee on the products or on the installation of the work we do?
Yep. So obviously the products are each going to have their own manufacturer's warranty. That completely depends on the manufacturer itself. But the nice part is all the things that we install, we are certified and trained to do. So you don't have to worry about an installation issue. From the labor side, we're legally required to give you a 1 year. And then honestly, we just try and be fair. If it's 2 years or 3 years or something, and it's clearly something that got missed by me or one of my subs, we're going to make that right. I'm way less worried about spending a couple hours to make something right than I am about that person, excuse me, enjoying their product that Classic Home Concepts made for them for years to come.
Okay. And now we're going to hit the big question, the question everyone always asks us.
Okay.
How much is this going to cost?
Well, the short answer is more than some and less than others. You know, that's such a tricky question. And really, there's so many factors that go into it, but like, you really should be cautious of people who are just wildly too expensive or wildly inexpensive. And honestly, that's one of the reasons we do the pre-construction phase, is so we can go through and make a plan so that I'll go back to kitchens because it's something that is really easy and you get wide ranges on prices. It's a lot easier to make sure you're getting the same bid from every contractor, which I'm completely fine with you getting multiple bids from contractors. Everybody values different things differently. Some people are really price driven. Some people are really experience driven. And we're not going to always be the fit for every client, and that's okay. So when we go to that plan and we go through and we say, okay, we're using cabinets from Cabinet Concepts by Design, one of the local companies in town who does just really high-end work. And we're going to use these handles and this countertop from Solid Surface Designs and this tile for the floor and this tile for the backsplash, and go through all these things. And let's just say, big, easy, round numbers, we're going to do $100,000 big kitchen. Well, it's a lot harder for another contractor to come in and say, I can do that for 50. If you give them a sheet that's all the plans, all the drawings, everything, and it says, you have to bid this, you have to follow this specification sheet that tells you all those finishes are the exact same. Right. Make sure people are bidding apples to apples.
Yep. Okay. And I know that's a big deal that a lot of people face, is they'll say, well, I want to redo my siding, and they might get a bid for hardy siding from us, but then go get a bid for vinyl siding from someone else. And
we're going to be over double.
Right. You know, yeah, our prices are definitely going to change. Do you want to touch base also with them on some of the videos that you and Tim have been working on about pricing, what to expect? Because I know a lot of people, you know, they think, well, I want to get my house re-sided, and we're kind of touching base on some of those videos of like, how much does this kind of job cost, for this is what you get for this price of this kind of job. So maybe you can talk about some of those videos that they could be seeing on social media in the future.
Yeah. I mean, the idea is to eventually talk about what everything that we offer costs. You know, we're not a contractor who wants to do everything. We're small. I don't think you can try to do everything really well. So what we want to do is really keep the same 4 or 5 offerings. And that's what we want to do really well. So, you know, we want to be one of the best outdoor kitchen people in Springfield. We want to be one of the best sunroom companies in Springfield. And especially with sunroom and siding, like, those markets are really saturated. So we want to talk about, 1, what's it cost, but 2, why does it cost that? You know, a lot of people, for instance, with siding, will rip off old vinyl and find out that there's no house wrap there. And they'll just go back over with new vinyl and never say anything to the client. And the client's house looks prettier, but it's not in better shape. It's not stopping water from infiltrating the house, anything like that. And so we're going to go back and put house wrap on it and tape the seams and make sure that it's a better product for you performance wise and not just a better looking thing.
Okay. Tim, do you have any questions that someone may ask or may want to know?
I guess regarding the videos that we're trying to create, because I'm kind of more in the media world of classic home concepts, I think you've nailed it as far as how do you determine prices. Well, I guess it does depend on what you're wanting, but I think that's what we're really trying to get at is transparency and giving you maybe 3 or 4 price points for each project that we specialize in, and kind of give people that general idea. And I think most people that that prices do vary depending on if you want the little extras here and there. But I think that's one of the things that I've seen with you guys is in the times that we've went out and looked at projects that we've completed. One of the things that I was really impressed with you, Chris, was you're willing to let them feel comfortable saying, I don't know about this, or what about that? And we can say even afterwards, yeah, we can work on that. We can fix that. Things are, in the world of trying to dream up your dream space, you're willing to help them make sure that they feel in the end that that's the experience and the space that they dreamed of and that they wanted. It's not just, here's the project, we're done with it, sorry, that's going to cost you extra. You bring that humility and humanity to it, and I appreciate that.
It's funny you bring that up, and that's one thing when you talk about price that I think is really important, especially when you're really just looking for the low price leader with a contractor. You're going to get that answer a lot more. You're going to get that, oh, well, I didn't plan that. That's going to cost more. Mm-hmm. You're getting guys that are coming in and saying, hey, we can do this kitchen for 20, 25, 30% less. Well, if they make one mistake, there's no profit left in that job for them. And we're not trying to make a killing, but we are trying to be a profitable company so that we can stay and support our clients, our future clients, and our past clients for a long time. And that costs money, so we don't want to be the company. But you're right. If someone says, hey, I'm not crazy about how this one little detail came out. We planned the whole thing, but that detail takes an hour and a half to fix for us. I love to be able to say, yeah, we have enough budget in there to fix that for you. No questions asked, not, hey, we need more money, anything. Just cool. It's taken care of. Because again, we want to be a customer service company that happens to do construction. And I don't think that nickel and diming someone every time they want to change something really tiny or minuscule is the way to give a good customer service experience.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And that kind of brought questions to my own head. We had a client this week that called and wanted their potential lead of ours. And one of her big questions was, can you help me on what style I want? Like, I kind of have a general idea, but I don't, I like a lot of things and I don't know exactly which way to go and which way is going to look best. And maybe hit on like what your response to her was on that of using Pinterest and using inspirations and, letting us kind of get in her head so we can better help her.
Yeah. So one, Pinterest is a life changer. It is something that has made visualizing or seeing what customers like so much easier, because before either they needed to draw something or they needed to find it in a magazine, and there's plenty of magazines out there, but now you got to go to the library and you got to find it, or you got to search on the internet, where Pinterest really just brings that together. And so a lot of times one of the first steps when we're talking to a client is, hey, before our initial meeting, we're going to give you some homework. And I want you to go and make a board and call it Kinsey's new kitchen. And then find me, 3 or 4 kitchens that you really like. And then find some of the little details that you really like and make sure we incorporate it. And then on our first meeting, we can say, hey, I really like this part about this picture, but I'm not crazy about this. And that really helps from my side when we start with the design to really nail it the first time and have less revisions and less time taken missing
Right.
the mark.
On bigger projects, you're able to do like 3D renderings for them. And so that goes from big to small. You can do all the renderings for them.
Yeah. I mean, we can, if you wanted us to, we could render just one cabinet, or we could go all the way up to doing whole houses. We've done entire houses. We're not an architect. We're not licensed in any way, shape, or form that way. We're not an engineer. So we still have to take our plans and have them approved by someone with either an architect or an engineer stamp, just to make sure that they're going to size all the lumber correctly and make sure all the spans are right and it's going to stay together. But we can, at least from a visual side, we can really create that and give you everything you need under one roof.
Yeah, I think that's helpful.
Do you have any questions that you get asked that I didn't touch base on?
Cost is usually the biggest one. Cost and time. So one of the things that we do as well, everyone's super busy right now. When you call into us, one of the things that I'll let you kind of talk to is if you call me right now and say, hey, I want to do an outdoor kitchen, I'm not running out tomorrow. I can't. We're, depending on the week, 3 or 4 weeks out on-site consultations. So what do we do instead?
So that's we did touch base on that a little bit last week while you weren't here. But that's kind of where I come into play. And so when you call into the office or you fill out that lead intake form on the website, I give you a call and I do a brief phone consultation with you just to get the details of your project. If you have pictures, spec books, anything like that, I ask for you to send those in to us. And then I'll schedule a time within the next week for you to do a phone consultation with Chris. And Chris can go over those photos or plans that you sent in. He'll go over all the details that I gathered, and then he'll do a phone consultation with you. And that's kind of that screening process. Tim brought that up last week, of doing that screening process of making sure we're a good fit for you, but you're also a good fit for us, and that your project's something, that's going to work nicely together with both parties. And then after Chris does that phone consultation with you, then we'll go ahead and get you on the schedule to do that in-field consultation and kind of really move you to the design phase, let Chris come out and look at it. If we need to do any in-house designing or renderings, we can take the time to get those done before you just run out there and not know if we're a good fit or if they're a good fit.
Probably something good to talk about too when you ask about timelines and lead times. If we're going to a design phase, which we like to do on all of our complicated projects, you can really probably plan for that to add somewhere between 2 and 6 weeks, I'd say. If it's a 8-foot long outdoor kitchen that's just a straight line, and we can probably turn that around in a week or two. If it's something more complicated and we're going to have more revisions or something like that, then plan on a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah. And so, I think that Chris will do that phone consultation, and then he schedules for the in-field consultation, and then we do the design phase. And then we schedule again for you to go out and do a contract signing or present those renderings and go from there.
Yeah. I think the sign of a healthy company is that they're busy and that they're working and that they have, weeks scheduled out where they have business coming. So how do you answer? Maybe it's not a question, but respond to the person who calls and says, well, Bill's construction can come in 2 weeks and you're 5 weeks, 10 weeks out. How do you respond to that where you're not saying, well, good luck, you don't want to be rude, but you also want to, keep the relationship, but also give healthy expectations of, your time and theirs.
Sure. My big thing is do your research. I don't want to speak to why another company could or couldn't get there faster or slower than us. There's a million things. There are giant companies that can be there tomorrow or later this week to do an initial sales call. But just to give an example, like why can they do that and we can't? Well, because if you're coming to me or you're coming to Classic Home Concepts, I'm the one selling it to you. We don't have a crew of salespeople. We don't have 4, 5, 6 people that can keep some openings in their slots and really jump out there, we could probably bring that on and slam stuff through, but I feel like we'd be trying to grow too fast. And again, that doesn't serve a good customer experience.
Right. Well, and I was also going to touch base on that, sometimes you hear from contractors on the phone, well, I have something this afternoon, but I'll cut it short and head your way as soon as I'm done or whatever. And I feel like that's something you do very well about the time that you're with our clients. They have your full attention. It's not spent answering a text message or responding to an email or answering a phone call. That's why we have the crew leads we do and myself to field those other phone calls and those other things off your task list. So when you are with a client, they have 100% of your attention and your time to their project.
Yeah. I mean, again, I know I probably sound like a broken record going back to customer experience, but if you're spending $10, $20, $50,000, I would want some special attention for that kind of investment.
Right.
And so I want to treat people how I want to be treated. And I want to make sure that clients really feel special and comfortable with the investment that they're trusting us with. Mm-hmm. That's really important to me.
Yeah, I agree. Does anyone else have any other questions today?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Watch on Facebook over the next couple of days. We're going to be posting that media and branding coordinator position. So there'll be some more details on that. If you know someone, they can call the office and we can talk to them through there too.
Yeah. So did you guys talk about that last week?
Last week we did not talk about it.
I didn't get a chance to watch. Tim's leaving us. And we knew Tim had that possibility. He felt the calling to go be a chaplain. They apparently wanted him a lot faster than we expected, which is a great thing, for huge compliment for Tim. But that means that we need someone to help us do this. Hopefully you've noticed over the last couple months that we've made a really, really strong push and a dedicated effort to be around on social media and to be out there and to be available. And we go with this, our tagline when we launched our new website was, we're leading with transparency. And that's really important to me. I'll tell you up front what a ballpark price for a project is the first time you call. We've got some pricing on our website. Part of that transparency and that willingness to be open and vulnerable is taken care of by Tim doing videos and holding me accountable to take the time to shoot those videos and to take the time to do these podcasts. And so we're looking for a new Tim that is hugely self-motivated. You don't have to have a ton of skills. Tim didn't have a ton when you started. No. Most of it was self-taught. We just gave him the tools to train himself, and we worked hand in hand a lot on what to do and what things look like. And so, if you know someone, or if you're that someone and you want to try a new position, or even better, if you have some of these skills and you're looking for a videography thing, we'd love to talk to you. We're going to continue down this road and continue to post videos, post pictures, and post blogs, and be open and honest and transparent about our processes. So we need to make sure that we find a good replacement for Tim to fulfill that role and keep helping us serve you guys as best we can.
Yeah, I think a willingness to learn is the essential component. Obviously, if you have the videography and editing skills, that would be great. Another big bonus is if you have kind of some SEO background or some kind of the Google AdWords, kind of understanding that world, that'll give you a leg up. But I think even a lot of those things can be learned. And that's something that I've been impressed by, is coming in, is that you're willing to help me learn. Okay, if there's a conference down the road that will aid in you learning these skills to help the company, let's get you there. Let's do these things. Let's put the pieces in place so that we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because this goes back to just more of a philosophy of how I run the business, but and I'm a huge quotes guy. You guys haven't learned this about me because we're only 3 episodes in, but I love quotes. And there's a story where this CEO comes in and he's talking about this company's struggling and they fire their CEO and a new one comes in and he says, we're going to invest all this money into all of our employees. And the CFO and HR and all this are like, no, we can't do that. We don't have the budget. It's just not going to work. And ultimately, the CEO is like, just give me a real reason why we can't do this. Like, I know we have the money. I know we can do it. And finally, the HR person says, well, what if we spend all this money training someone and they leave? And I think the better question is the CEO's response. And he says, well, what if we don't train them and they stay? So investing in my guys, in my people, that's something hugely important to me. I want to do that. So if the guys want to go, the field crew wants to go to, we know how to build decks, but Mike Girton with Fine Home Building is doing this masterclass. They want to go do that and see if there's any new tips or tricks they can pick up. All it takes is one tip or trick to pay for itself.
Right.
And the guys feel validated because we're investing in them.
Yeah. And it's from a conference to even just a book. Like this morning, one of the guys said, hey, I put in the wrong address and I went to the wrong place. And one of the other guys chimed in and said, hey, don't tell everybody, your mistake. And he said, no, I want to lead with transparency. And it's because that's the philosophy that we're communicating. And it's just as simple as a book that he's reading, and he's absorbing that and realizing this is kind of the philosophy of the company moving forward. Is we want to own even the smallest mistake, get behind it, and do better. And little things like that just kind of start to show up and our conversations, even over a text.
I'm going to be honest. I was pretty proud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet.
When I got that text.
It was a good one.
So, yeah. Anything else today, guys?
No, just like, subscribe, please comment, let us know any questions that you have or just future content that you'd like to see us talk about or make video of. So
Right.
just, continue to give us feedback.
Well, clearly I don't have to say that now because, Tim told me all day to make sure I said that, but now he's taking care of it for me. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week.